Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 205 based on novel. So let's start. The old man coldly snorted before he retreated and said, "I just stepped into the illusory yin stage 2 years ago. If I had a few more years, then no matter how much more treasures you have, you wouldn't be this old man's match." Wang Lin withdrew the scattered mountain soul and calmly said, "I'm talking with you about exchanging this spell." The old man sneered. "Don't even think about it. You already took the thunder furnace, now leave quickly." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, then he raised his right hand and a ray of black light immediately shot out. The moment the black light appeared, the old man felt like his life force was about to be drained. The black light charged out directly toward the cultivation planet and immediately disappeared. However, the old man's divine sense closely followed it and saw the black light land on a plain. The vegetation on the plain immediately withered before turning into countless strands of vitality that flew out from the cultivation planet and entered Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin calmly said, "This spell is named Finger of Death." The old man snorted and said, "If I hadn't reached the illusory yin stage, then it would have barely caught my eye, but right now it is worthless." Although he said this, in his heart he was secretly shocked at how tyrannical it was. He wasn't interested in the spell's power, but in its ability to absorb vitality. Wang Lin's right hand pointed once more and a demonic aura appeared around his fingertip. It shot out like a bullet and stopped before the old man. This spell is the demonic finger. It turns celestial spiritual energy into demonic energy. When used with the Finger of Death, its effect is even better. The old man stared at the black aura before him and began to ponder. He lifted his right hand and immediately caught it with his hand before scanning it with his divine sense. After a long time, he looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Rumor has it that people from planet Dongling are good at demonic aura spells. So you are from planet Dongling. However, this spell is still worthless." Wang Lin pondered a bit. Back then, what Situ Nan cared most about was the underworld finger. The old man was startled and his heart was filled with disbelief. Even though the spell had defects, it wasn't something Wang Lin could use for an exchange. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he raised his right hand and slowly said, "This final spell is something I learned from a Nirvana Shatterer senior. If you still don't find it interesting, then forget about this matter." Wang Lin's mind gave a command and then the celestial guard behind him turned into a ray of golden light and charged toward the cultivation planet. The puppet's movement caused the old man's expression to sink. Shortly after, the celestial guard returned with a fierce beast in its hands. The beast looked extremely ferocious and its whole body was covered in thorns. It had the arm of a mortal in its mouth. Apparently, it was eating when the celestial guard caught it. Wang Lin's two fingers from his right hand formed a sword. He hadn't used the celestial slaughter art in a long time. The countless strands of slaughter energy he condensed back then were placed inside the puppet and were all consumed in a battle. However, Wang Lin still had a profound understanding of the celestial slaughter art. After all, he had cultivated the spell for more than 100 years. At this moment, he focused for a moment and sword energy gathered in his finger. The ray of sword energy shot out into the beast and the beast immediately let out a miserable groan. The old man's eyes suddenly widened as the beast quickly withered and turned into a skeleton. A strand of grey gas came out from the beast's corpse and wrapped around Wang Lin's fingers. Wang Lin flicked his finger and the grey gas flew out. He then pointed at it, causing it to immediately change into a life seal and fly toward the old man. This spell is named the Celestial Slaughter Art. The old man was moved. His right hand reached out and grabbed the seal. His divine sense carefully examined the seal. The more he examined it, the more shocked he became. In the end, his eyes were glowing. With his cultivation, he was almost immediately able to see through the Celestial Slaughter Art. The life seal obviously had a certain protective element and the grey gas had offensive capabilities. Although it wasn't powerful, this spell could obviously be used many times and could be stored. This life seal is formed from the celestial slaughter art. It involves relying on slaughter to gather vitality and surrounding one with vitality to form life seals. The more life seals there are, the more powerful the defense will be. Back then, the senior who taught me the spell said that if one had 1 trillion life seals protecting them, then even if the cultivation planet collapsed, one would still be safe and sound. Wang Lin wasn't lying, this was exactly what the grey-robed all-seer told him. For the first time, the old man's expression revealed hesitation. It was obvious that this celestial slaughter art had moved him. With his insight, he could naturally see how powerful the celestial slaughter art was and that it was not something ordinary cultivators could get a hold of. There was a certain credibility that this was learned from a Nirvana Shatterer senior. However, this third eye spell was a family inheritance, so it couldn't be casually taught to outsiders. The origin of the spell was unknown, it seemed to be something his ancestors had accidentally obtained. If it was the Alliance star system, a family like his would never be able to keep the spell to themselves. However, in the All-Heaven star system, where families held power, almost each clan had inherited something, and those things were not easily taken. What was more important was that he was the first person to successfully learn it after his family had obtained it. Wang Lin waited for a moment. After seeing that the old man was still hesitating, he waved his sleeves and stepped toward the Thunder Beast. He then said, "Since fellow cultivator is still unwilling, then let's forget this matter." With that, the Thunder Beast under him turned into a bolt of thunder and flew off into the distance with the celestial puppet following closely after. The life seal in the old man's hand collapsed and became ash. As it dissipated, a wave was set off in the old man's heart. It felt like it should have been his spell and it just was stolen away. Upon seeing Wang Lin disappearing into the distance, the old man's expression changed. He clenched his teeth and shouted, "Fellow cultivator, stop! I'll trade it for the celestial slaughter art along with the finger of death and demonic finger." Wang Lin stopped. The Thunder Beast let out a roar and turned around. It stopped 100 feet from the old man. Lightning came out of its nose and its eyes were filled with disdain. The old man clenched his teeth and said, "Exchange. This old man agrees to your exchange, but you have to promise not to spread it to others." Wang Lin nodded. Without wasting any time, he took out 3 pieces of jade. After recording the details of the 3 spells, Wang Lin threw them out, not fearing that the old man would back out. The old man looked through them. Although his expression was neutral, he admired Wang Lin's actions in his heart. He also took out a jade and recorded the method for the third eye spell before throwing it at Wang Lin. However, he schemed and made a few alterations. If one cultivated according to this, there will be great hidden dangers in the future. Wang Lin caught the jade and examined it. He secretly tried the spell and even spent painstaking effort to compare it to the moment when the third eye activated. He was immediately able to see through the issues, but he didn't point them out and simply nodded. Looking at the elder, Wang Lin felt somewhat bad. After all, he had gotten a great deal in this transaction. After hesitating a bit, he said, "Fellow cultivator, it is best not to cultivate more than 100,000 strands of slaughter energy, or else there might be great danger." After he said that, he immediately left as if he was in a rush to leave. The old man was startled before looking down at the jade in his hand. After pondering for a moment, he quickly returned to the cultivation planet with the others and then immediately went into closed-door cultivation. He had cultivate as much as possible so that he would be prepared for when the Thunder Celestial Realm opened in 1 month. Wang Lin sat on the back of the Thunder Beast with a strange expression on his face. He shook his head and said, "Trading 3 spells with problems for a spell with a hint of the third step seems a bit too much." A bit too much. Wang Lin looked at the jade in his hand and a smile appeared on his face. The old man only treated it as an ordinary spell. Even if he cared about it, it was only to a certain extent. However, Wang Lin felt that this spell was extremely powerful as it contained a trace of returning to the origin. If Wang Lin had not seen the third step, he wouldn't have seen the potential of this spell. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and carefully examined the jade. Wang Lin didn't care about the mistake left by the old man. As long as he had enough time, he could fix the mistake. This was a lot simpler than fixing the 3 other spells. The Thunder Beast rushed through the stars extremely quickly. Its target was Wang Lin's cultivation planet, Qing Lin. The cultivators of Qing Lin felt lucky that the eccentric senior with special interests had finally left. However, only a few months later, it became oppressive again as that senior with the special interests had returned. The area with 5,000 kilometers of Hengyun Peak became a restricted area once more, so no one dared to take half a step inside. After returning to his own cultivation planet, Wang Lin spent his time studying and fixing this third eye spell. He also slowly attempted to control it. More than half a month quickly passed. On this sunny day, there were no clouds in the sky and the sky was very blue. The gentle breeze carried with it a sense of warmth. Wang Lin stood at the Hengyun Peak with the thunder furnace in his hand. This furnace was only the size of his hand and thunder moved through it. Their movement of the thunder created crisp sounds. A subtle gap would occasionally appear and disappear between his eyebrows, giving off red light. At this moment, he looked extremely strange. No one would believe that he was a righteous cultivator. No matter how one looked, there was a trace of evil about him. All this was due to the gap between his eyebrows. Not long after, thunderclouds appeared in the blue sky. These clouds appeared abruptly without any signs. The sky was blue before and then it was immediately covered by the clouds. Bursts of thunder moved within the clouds and gave off a series of rumbles. At the same time, the thunder furnace in Wang Lin's hand seemed to respond and the thundercloud grew denser. Just at this moment, a thick bolt of thunder descended from the clouds toward Wang Lin. As Wang Lin stared at the thunder, his eyes revealed a strange light. He knew that as long as the thunder hit the thunder furnace, he would be guided through the void toward the thunder celestial realm. However, he withdrew the thunder furnace. "This is celestial thunder, Wang Lin muttered to himself, then the strange light in his eyes became stranger. His next move was unprecedented in the countless times the thunder celestial realm had opened. When the thunder celestial realm opens, it produces celestial thunder. The celestial thunder acts as a guide and anyone with a thunder furnace will be led to the thunder celestial realm. As for why it was like this, no one knew. It was as if it had always been like this. Some powerful cultivators wanted to search for an answer, but no matter how hard they searched, they ultimately still found no answers. Over time, people stopped looking for the cause of this. They all knew that as long as they had a thunder furnace, they could enter the thunder celestial realm. At this moment, the celestial thunder arrived the moment Wang Lin put the thunder furnace away. The thunder had not yet landed, but the rumble could be heard. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light and his origin soul operated like crazy. Bursts of thunder came from his body and even spread to the outside world. The current him was like a master of thunder and lightning. At the moment the thunder descended, Wang Lin's body charged out like a meteor. He opened his mouth and devoured the thunder without any hesitation. It was like magnificent sight. After he devoured it, the wind and clouds changed and the entire world seemed to dim. The originally bright thunder was devoured by Wang Lin. The loud series of thunderous rumbles quickly turned into muffled roars coming out from Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's body trembled when he swallowed the thunder, and he had the illusion that he was hit by a punch from an ancient god. He directly fell from the sky like a broken kite and smashed toward the ground with a rumbling coming out of his body. At the moment his body landed on the ground, a large amount of thunder came out from his body and spread out. In an instant, the area with 5 kilometers of him was surrounded in a thunderstorm. There was nothing but a large pit in the ground. Explosions kept going off inside Wang Lin's body and the force of the thunder smashed his body deeper into the pit. His whole body kept discharging intense amounts of thunder and his eyes were shut tight. His origin soul was absorbing the celestial thunder like crazy. The thunder origin spell was also active, absorbing the origin energy from within the thunder. This scene was like the thunder lake within the asteroid field. The thunder in the sky echoed within the clouds as if the majesty of the celestial thunder couldn't be challenged. After the arrival of the celestial thunder, the clouds in the sky showed signs of dissipating and began to disappear. At this moment, deep inside the pit, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes exposed powerful thunder and also a hint of excitement. He licked his lips. The origin energy within the celestial thunder was extremely rich. It was several times more dense than the origin energy from the Thunder Lake. He had already reached the limit in the amount of origin energy he could store due to his cultivation. However, this excess origin energy had caused his previous situation to change. He quickly moved and charged out from the pit. At the same time, he slapped his bag of holding and the thunder furnace appeared in his hand once more. The moment the thunder furnace appeared, the dissipated thunder cloud stopped and condensed once more. Then another bolt of celestial thunder descended. Wang Lin laughed and put away the thunder furnace. Although that last bolt of celestial thunder had left his entire body aching and his origin soul was barely holding on, the amount of origin energy inside it was unimaginable. If other cultivators saw Wang Lin's current actions, they would be dumbfounded. This kind of action could only be described as crazy. Devouring celestial thunder. When the second bolt of celestial thunder arrived, Wang Lin's body was floating in mid-air and thunder was rumbling out from his body. Thunder moved around his whole body as the bolt of celestial thunder descended. Wang Lin charged out without any hesitation and devoured it. A sound that shocked the entire planet echoed across the planet and the entire planet trembled. This time, the moment his body hit the ground, he immediately sat down in the lotus position. His entire body was trembling violently. There wasn't enough time for Wang Lin to absorb it. After the two bolts of thunder, the clouds seemed unstable and were quickly dissipating. This time it was dissipating several times faster than before. A green light came out of Wang Lin's head while he was sitting in the lotus position. The moment the green light appeared, a blue mist came out as well and Wang Lin's origin soul came out from his body. The moment his origin soul appeared, the thunder furnace came out from his bag as well. His origin soul absorbed the thunder furnace and then rushed toward the clouds. The quickly dissipating thunder cloud issued a few unwilling bursts. It then stopped dissipating and condensed once more. However, it seemed angry this time as it gathered almost all the thunder and formed a bolt of celestial thunder much more powerful than the previous two. This thunder descended with a heaven-shattering rumble. At the moment the thunder descended, all of the thunder clouds were sucked into the thunder. From a distance, it didn't look like a bolt of thunder at all, but a huge vortex instead. The vortex was formed by the thunder clouds with the third bolt of thunder at the bottom. A loud rumble echoed across the planet. None the cultivators dared to spread out their divine sense at this moment. All of the mortals, even the tyrants in the market and the experts of the martial arts world that didn't believe in cultivators, knelt on the ground, praying like devoted followers. Wang Lin's origin soul floated in the sky and stared at the terrifying thunder. He couldn't help but reveal a wry smile. It seems it has gotten out of hand. Watching the thunder descend, Wang Lin's origin soul moved and quickly elongated until it looked incredibly similar to the ancient thunder dragon. After letting out a roar, Wang Lin's origin soul rushed out and devoured the thunder. However, he only devoured half before quickly retreating. The celestial thunder let out an angry rumble and angrily chased after Wang Lin. His origin soul moved extremely quickly toward the ground and threw out the thunder furnace. Then his origin soul returned back into his body, and as he opened his eyes, his right hand grabbed the thunder furnace. The thunder chasing after him seemed to let out a reluctant roar as it landed on the thunder furnace. Even the intense vortex that followed the thunder also landed on the thunder furnace. The thunder furnace flashed like crazy. It was so intense that even Wang Lin's right hand felt numb. Even when he held lightning, he wouldn't feel this kind of numbness. This just shows how terrifying the thunder was. At this moment, the thunder vortex above the thunder furnace rapidly rotated and absorbed everything inside. From afar, it looked like the entire world was going to be absorbed by the furnace. Someone who didn't understand anything would think that this furnace was a top-quality treasure because it seemed like would absorb the world. In almost an instant, the huge vortex entered the thunder vortex. As the vortex disappeared, the thunder furnace gave off crackling sounds and a crack appeared on it. This was the first time a crack had appeared on a thunder furnace since the Thunder Celestial Realm opened. This kind of phenomenon had never happened before over the countless years. The amount of thunder furnaces was always the same and they could not be destroyed or lost. Every time the Thunder Celestial Realm opened, they would appear from the void and then return to the void. When they reappeared again, it would always be the same amount. However, right now it seemed like all of this was going to change. Wang Lin's face was filled with a bitter smile. He really felt like he had overdone it. He didn't know if he would be affected if the Thunder Furnace collapsed. Maybe it would prevent him from entering the Thunder Celestial Realm. It should not collapse. This Thunder Furnace is something from the Thunder Celestial Realm after all. As Wang Lin stared dumbfoundedly at the Thunder Furnace absorbing all of the thunder clouds, more and more cracks appeared on it until it finally shattered. A thunderous echo echoed across the heavens and earth, forming a giant storm on planet Qingling. The Thunder Furnace shattered into countless fragments, and each fragment had thunder connecting them together. Wang Lin let out a breath of relief. As long as the fragments were there was a chance to fix this. However, the moment the fragments split, they collapsed once more. This time the fragments shattered into dust. This was the first Thunder Furnace that had collapsed since the Thunder Celestial Realm opened. From this day onwards, no matter how many times the Thunder Celestial Realm opened, it will forever be short one Thunder Furnace and an entry will be lost for eternality. This was the first time this kind of thing had happened in countless years. As for what would happen afterwards, no one knew. The Thunder Furnaces were originally indestructible. Breaking one was even very difficult for people at the second step. Even if someone could do it, they wouldn't because it would gain them no advantage and have an extremely negative impact on the system. Wang Lin's bitter smile became even stronger. The moment Thunder Furnace shattered, all of the thunder inside it exploded forth. An unimaginably powerful thunder gushed out and surrounded Wang Lin. This thunder pulled him toward the sky at an extremely fast speed. This speed was too fast, as if it was trying to tear his body apart. Others would take the Thunder Furnace and be led toward the Thunder Celestial Realm, so their speed was relatively slow. Wang Lin's Thunder Furnace had absorbed the entire thunder cloud to the point that the furnace itself couldn't withstand it anymore, so naturally his speed was several times faster. In almost an instant, this crazy thunder broke through the void and disappeared along with Wang Lin. His speed was almost indescribable, as if time was passing by in the blink of an eye. This space was clearly different from normal space. Wang Lin wasn't able to see his surroundings at all before he flashed by. There were many cultivators from the All-Heaven Star system on the road to the Thunder Celestial Realm. They didn't have to fly on their own and were automatically being pulled by the Thunder Furnaces toward the Celestial Gate to wait for the gate to open. Every cultivator with a furnace was being pulled by their respective Thunder Furnace. Unless they were from the same cultivation planet, the distance between them was far too great to see each other. When they looked around, aside from the light coming from themselves, it was all just darkness. However, just at this moment, a powerful ray of thunder flew by like a meteor and carried with it a thunderous roar. The speed of this bolt of thunder was so fast that it had already reached an inconceivable degree. It instantly passed by several cultivators. The impact caused by its passing made the light around those cultivators flicker as if they were about to extinguish. These cultivators were all from the same cultivation planet, and their expressions changed greatly. When they focused in that direction, they only saw a flash in the distance before it disappeared without a trace. What remained was the confusion and terror in the eyes of those cultivators. One of the cultivators muttered, "What? What was that?" Wang Lin was inside the meteor-like thunderbolt. The extreme speed made it so that he couldn't open his eyes at all. It was as if there was something moving inside his body and countless concaves had appeared all over his body. He didn't even dare to spread out his divine sense. At his current speed, he would reach the range limit of his divine sense the moment spread out. Due to the extreme speed, he would lose that part of his divine sense and damage his origin soul. His speed was too fast. This meteor-like thunder rampaged through the road to the Thunder Celestial Realm. Some of the first-time cultivators were excited about reaching the Celestial Gate before they saw this terrifying meteor. Each of them was so stunned that they forgot where they were for a moment. Even those that wouldn't easily reveal their true emotions were dumbfounded. This was not the first time for some other cultivators, but even for them, when they saw the meteor-like thunder, their expressions changed and were filled with uncertainty. In this environment, very few people dared to spread out their divine sense. Even if they did, it was impossible to lock onto the fast meteor. What exactly was inside that meteor? That became the first question that appeared inside the hearts of almost all the cultivators before they had even stepped onto the Thunder Celestial Realm. At the end of this empty space was the gate to the Thunder Celestial Realm. This gate was a huge bolt of thunder, only it was so large that it was impossible to see where it ended. This bolt of thunder was dark red, it appeared from the void, and the other end disappeared into the void like a river. However, there was no life coming from it, as if it was a person whose life had come to an end. There were many legends about this bolt of thunder in the All-Heaven star system. The most accepted one was that originally there was no gate to the Thunder Celestial Realm. The entire Thunder Celestial Realm was a giant lake of thunder, and it didn't need the gate. As for this dark red bolt of thunder, it was formed by the souls of all the Celestials when the Celestial Realm collapsed. This became the gate after the collapse. At this moment, there were already several people sitting in the lotus position under this dark red bolt of thunder. Shengonghu was among them. Aside from the messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple, there were some of the rare, solo cultivators from the All-Heaven star system. In the All-Heaven star system ruled by cultivation families, there weren't many solo cultivators. Without a terrifying cultivation level to back themselves up, it would be very difficult to survive. Almost every single solo cultivator was a powerful existence. The people under the gate to the Thunder Celestial Realm rarely talked to each other. All of them had their eyes closed as if they were unwilling to be disturbed by others. Sometimes there would be individual cultivators arriving through the guidance of the Thunder Furnace. Often, the first waves of cultivators were all those that had reached the second step. If one met an acquaintance, they would often exchange a few words, sit next to each other, or sit alone after greeting each other. A middle-aged man in blue was sitting next to Shengonghu. His face was pale with no trace of color, but there was a coldness in his gaze. The middle-aged man had a strange tone as he slowly said, "I heard that the always arrogant Shengonghu now has a lord. I didn't believe you at first, but seeing that brother Shengong is missing a part of your Dao soul, it seems like it is true. A pity. A pity." Shengonghu's expression remained the same as he coldly looked at the middle-aged man before he calmly said, "A short-sighted person who has no ambition can't understand the ambition of a man with great intellect. A superficial person can't comprehend the thoughts of an ambitious person. Tang Yangfeng, you're not me." The man named Tang's eyes became cold and he gloomily smiled. "I want to see what kind of intelligence you have." Shengonghu no longer spoke. During these 20 years, he had been under a lot of pressure. This pressure came from his family and the Thunder Celestial Temple. All of this was because he had pledged to Wang Lin. In his family, he was scolded for his rash decision. Although he was a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple, he couldn't do anything against the family elders. As for the Thunder Celestial Temple, they didn't agree with a messenger pledging to someone else. Although they didn't obviously state anything, Shengonghu could feel that the Thunder Celestial Temple was alienating him. For example, with his talent he shouldn't have been here at all right now. He should have been with the majority of the other Thunder Celestial Temple messengers and entered the Thunder Celestial Realm through another path. Although he wasn't the only messenger here, those people couldn't compare to him at all in terms of status. Thinking about this, Shengong not only felt no regret, he felt a powerful sense of pride. Not only did he feel that he wasn't wrong, he also felt like it was the best decision he ever made in his life. What he said to Tang Yangfeng was also the same thing he said to the elders of his family. Even the head elder of the family is stuck at the Nirvana cleanser stage, so there is not even a need to talk about the legendary third step. What qualifications do they have to guide me? Shengonghu's eyes shined brightly. Tang Yangfeng sneered. This Shengonghu was the first one among their generation to become a messenger of the Thunder Celestial Temple. However, due to one misstep, he was now in such a situation. Just at this moment, a bright light suddenly appeared in the distance. After an instant, a thunderous rumble rushed closer like a storm. All of the cultivators opened their eyes and looked over. Tang Yangfeng was no exception. At the moment he looked over, the light suddenly intensified and headed straight for this place. The light carried with it a powerful rumble and closed in at an incredible speed. It was too fast and closed in an instant. There was not a lack of powerful cultivators here. Many of them spread out their divine senses, trying to lock on the meteor-like thunder to try to find some clues about it. However, due to its crazy speed, the meteor-like thunder already quickly closed in before they could even lock onto it. It brought with it a powerful force, making everyone's eyes become even more serious. As it closed in, not only did it not stop here like normal, it became even faster. It flashed by the crowd and charged directly at the gate. Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, the meteor-like thunder suddenly hit the dark red bolt of thunder. Following a muffled rumble, the bolt of thunder disappeared into the dark red thunder, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Enter. It entered? One of the cultivators was completely stunned. Not only him, but almost everyone around immediately stood up and stared at the gate. They had never heard of someone that could enter before the gate opened. It was completely beyond their expectations. Tang Yangfeng stared dumbfoundedly at the Thunder Celestial Gate. He muttered, "What is this? How could someone enter before it opened? Could it be that you can enter before it opens?" He frowned. He wasn't the only person who had this idea, but no one dared to try, except for one person. This person's body flickered and a clone walked out from behind him. He pointed forward and the clone charged toward the dark red thunder. Everyone's gazes immediately followed. They all saw the clone touch the dark red thunder, but its body trembled and quickly collapsed. At the same time, a bolt of dark red thunder shot out toward the cultivator that sent out the clone. This cultivator's expression changed greatly. He was at the illusory yin stage, but when facing the thunder, his scalp felt numb and was about to lose his wit. He turned and quickly ran, but the red thunder chased closely after. The red thunder entered the person's body and flew back after making a cycle through that person's body. That cultivator trembled, then his entire body, along with his origin soul and bag of holding, collapsed. Silence, all of the surrounding cultivators became silent. No one noticed that at this moment, Shengong who had lowered his head, but his eyes were filled with shock and unimaginable excitement. When he saw the meteor-like thunder pass, he felt a trace of his lord's aura inside due to his Tao soul. Shengong Hu was not wrong. Senior is really amazing person. The thunder he attracted reached this degree and could enter the Thunder Celestial Realm before it opened. This kind of cultivation is really unbelievable. A person was standing on a peak covered in countless bolts of thunder on a fragment of the unopened Thunder Celestial Realm. This person was an old man with a head of white hair flowing in the air. As his white clothes fluttered in the air, he had his hand behind his back and frowned as if he was thinking of something. However, he was startled as he looked into the distance and softly exclaimed, "Interesting." The old man revealed a look of interest. A gust of wind blew by and his body turned into countless golden specks and disappeared from this thunder mountain. If Wang Lin was here, he would immediately recognize that when the old man disappeared, there was a faint aura of returning to the origin. This video will end here.